What's up, baby?
So we're joined here by DJ Buchanan of Swervinn Podcast. We've invited him to come to the barn, check out the barn a little bit, have a drink or two, and talk podcasts. Because I know, DJ, I know you have your own podcast and kind of been doing it for a little bit. I guess first and foremost, why'd you start podcasting and what brought you to that?
Well, first, thanks for having me here, guys. It's a nice place. And first thing that really brought me to podcasting was, everyone probably goes to him, Joe Rogan. You know, just YouTube-based things, just having stuff on in the background and really listening to Joe Rogan and what he's doing. The UFC more, too. It was crazy to see Joe hosting a podcast, talking about what he's talking about, then going and being live on the UFC that people are buying nightly, and he's the voice of that, you know what I mean? People are, like, excited to see Joe Rogan. I'm like, man, that's awesome, you know? And I've always had that voice to where, you know, I just meet someone, and especially random people are like, man, you got a good sounding voice. I'm like, hey, I've never thought of that. I might do something like radio and stuff because I do have good conversation with people and stuff.
So I'm not surprised to hear you say that Joe Rogan is a big influence, because how your podcast is a little bit different than ours is yours is free form.
Yes.
So you'll hop on mic and hop on camera, and you'll be on there an hour or maybe even more.
Yeah, hour, 20 minutes sometimes, 15, but yeah, for sure.
Our format's a little bit different, and it's, you know, structured kind of in a different way, but I've always respected the free form kind of structure to things, because filling up an hour, you know, it sounds like, you know, when you're hanging with your friends, it sounds like that'd be something easy to do. But when you're trying to keep somebody who's viewing and somebody who's listening entertained through that whole hour, that's got to be difficult,
especially by yourself. And I think that's where I was trying to get different from Joe Rogan, trying to hold a conversation by myself and kind of having that mindset of, let's do it like I'm in my radio station, you know, just talking that form, and I'm not talking to my door or window. And that's kind of when you'll see me like be recording on the video. I'm not making eye contact to the camera because I feel like I'm talking to one person, and then I'm asking my camera questions, not talking back. So I just got to kind of put myself in that standpoint of being out loud and stuff. And it is hard, but it's humbling. You get better at podcasts as you do them. Each podcast is better than the next podcast is better than the last. You know what I mean? And you guys probably know that too.
You know, these guys had one many years ago, and I wasn't involved in that. So it was like my first time. Like I've only done like 4 or 5.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So it is different for me, and kind of learning, you know what.
So who'd you start with, Chad?
So we just got bored about 10 years ago. We got bored, or maybe I guess longer. Got bored and was like, why don't we do a podcast? Because like podcast then. So what is it now? 2022. So 2012 is like in 2012, podcast wasn't a word that you hear every day. So I remember even asking my buddy, I was like, hey, you want to start a podcast? And he's like, what's a podcast? And I'm like, so we probably should then, right? And we just did it for fun, kind of goofy stuff. And I have creative friends and funny friends. And I was like, man, they don't really have an outlet, you know? So let me be that. And really, 10 years later, not a lot has changed. I get asked about the podcast thing, and they think I want to be the next Joe Rogan or something.
No.
And I don't. I just want to put stuff out there that's not out there right now. And I want to use my creative bone in my body and do something with it. Because why not?
Yeah, I feel that. And it's just this, bro. I had deja vu the other night, and this is where I had my deja vu. I turned on Jackass 3 before I go watch Jackass Forever, and I just got to the standpoint, I was like, man, Jackass was really the first form of YouTube, of like good YouTube out there, like videos. They probably just got a home camera. It was like, man, let's just go do crazy shit to make money. Like you said, podcasts weren't really a thing out there. People were going to YouTube to see, you know, Jackass, you know, funny people getting hurt and stuff. Joe Rogan really changed the narrative. You seen him on Fear Factor, just kind of talking and using his voice and stuff. And then you seen him get to this free form base of him hosting people he likes and having them on the podcast and putting it on YouTube. And he was just kind of the first person to do that. That's why everyone goes to Joe Rogan. It's not trying to be Joe Rogan or anything. Yeah. It's just he holds the throne. He started it.
He's the example.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny you bring up Jackass, because I see, you know, that Jackass stuff was so much a part of just the skateboard culture.
Yes.
Where they film their own videos and they put their own shit out. Yeah. And they did it all themselves. They didn't need some kind of big thing to do it. Now they got MTV and whatever.
But they were doing themselves, staying with it, consistent, you know.
And that's a huge part of what we're trying to do here, and I feel like you do as well. Is we create our own graphics for the most part. We do our own commercials. We want to be self-sustaining where we're providing everything else. We don't need to reach out to other people. Now we're not so unrealistic that we're not going to need the help of others. In fact, we ask for help quite a bit. But trying to have a self-sustaining atmosphere and provide content to people that they want to hear.
For sure, man. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And being yourself and filling them ears, man. You know, I just talk. That's why I do the Freeform podcast, because I got stuff I want to let off. And like I asked you earlier, why do you do the podcast? Because I want to be the outlet that people have, and you know, people need stuff to come on and released to, you know? And I tell people all the time, come on podcasts when people ask you, you know, come ask questions about their podcast and stuff and listen. And listen, you don't have to listen to a podcast all at one time, you know? When podcasts are an hour, you can listen to them in chunks, 20 minutes at a time, you know? Don't try to take it in all at one time and rush it. Listen to it, you know? So just stay consistent, stay you. And I'm glad to hear that, man.
You know, like when they were doing it before, I didn't even know anybody who listened to a podcast. But now, especially from the working from home, some people are listening to it all day long.
Oh, while they working all that? For sure, 100%.
Yeah, so there's a lot of opportunity now.
But I do that a lot. I'll turn on podcasts, do homework, be doing multiple different things, you know? And people are working from home, turn on podcasts is a thing.
What are some of the topics that you cover?
You know, sports obviously, but this is a big thing too. Like you gotta know that we're not just talking as guys all the time. You know, women are out there listening.
Sure, yeah.
Women are out there listening too, and you got to fill them ears. So I just try to cover like 10 minutes in sports, make it quick, first off the scene, and you know, sports betting. Like to get into that, mental health. Just letting people, when you come to, like, you told me to come to the shed, and I'm like, damn, like, this is lit. I just want people to come in and take me in, you know, when they come to my house and stuff. When you leave my place and you go listen to my podcast again, that's the setting I'm trying to get them to. Like, when you turn on my podcast, just set yourself in my living room like you're sitting with me, you know.
So that's kind of the theme or kind of the atmosphere or the vibe that you're trying to set. It's just a hang.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just a dude hang and you're talking.
For sure. That's what podcasts are about, releasing what you want to, you know,
So even though, you know, it is sort of a free-form format, you do have some structure to it. You do have certain questions or certain things that you want to hit with the guests that you do have on.
Correct, yes. And, you know, some guests are friends and stuff, so I might have, like, it's a matter of some people, you ask people to come on the podcast and be like, what are we going to talk about? I could sit down and we can talk like this all day, but they'll think I'm just going to come in there and bullshit with them or pick at them and all that. It's not about that. So I have to like really script out something and send it to them, and they're like, okay, I'll come on. So, and
I would feel more comfortable with that. Like a freeform thing would like freak me out.
Yeah.
You know?
But you got to trust the host. That's what it's all about. It's my show. Like,
yeah. I'm not talking about your show, but like if we were trying to put something like that on, like it would freak me out. It would stress me because I'm like, what if we have dead time and what am I going to say? And you know what? Am I going to have time to think about this? You know?
No,
Do you, we've experienced this here lately. Do you invite people to come on and they're almost scared in a way? Or
and then
real hesitant.
Oh yeah, or like it's the day of, and then they want to reschedule. Yeah, I have that a bunch, and especially women, you know, because I'm trying to talk to more women because I feel like I've had a bunch of guy guests on and we talk about sports and stuff, and I'm trying to elaborate to a mental health podcast, relationships and stuff, how to just understand women more because the world's crazy nowadays. You know, divorce rate's super high.
Sure.
So I just try to get to more understanding of where women are coming from in the world so I can be better as a man.
I think that's important. You know, one of the podcasts that we run and we're a part of is Girl Dad. You know, I have 3 young daughters. I have plenty of friends that have
You
daughters.
host that?
Yes.
Okay.
I only talk about the things that I'm interested in. You know,
sure.
I don't sit behind a microphone and fake it just for some other reason, you know. And being a father is one of those things. But it was interesting to me, you know, looking at the YouTube analytics and everything, is that like more women listen to that podcast than guys.
Oh, 100%.
But it's supposed to be tailored to a guy that has daughters, right? But it's
sure.
interesting because I think maybe, and I don't know, I'm guessing, but maybe they wanted to hear a guy's perspective on what it's like being, you know, married to them or even their dad.
Or even being single like I am, you know, that's why I host it. Yeah, but I like that. You know, that's definitely dope. That's cool you had that podcast because I want to know what it's like just being a parent, you know, because I've been to the aspect of I had great parents, but my dad wasn't there all the time to where I'm just like, man, I don't even want to have kids. So I might ask you a question on my podcast like, what was the point of your life to where, what were you in your life to where before you had kids? How were you, where was your head at?
You know, people are interesting.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
People's stories are different. You talked about some of the loss in your life, and I've experienced that. We've experienced some of that as well. You know, there's always those universal elements that almost everybody has experienced. You know, the love and the heartbreak and the loss and the grief and the death and all those things, those like life things that happen to a little bit of everybody. And we try to cover all those, you know, and we try to cover stuff that, you know, we're really into sports. So that's going to be a huge element of what we do. We're really into golf. We talked golf a little bit earlier, right? So that's going to be part of what we do. We really like music, finance, business, all those things that we're passionate about, but at the same time keeping in mind who our audience is.
For sure.
And trying to tailor some of our subjects or some of our things that we do talk about to try to get the attention of people.
100%.
We never fake it, right? We're still us.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just maybe spinning it in a different way or presenting it in a different way.
100%.
All right, man. We're going to take a break.
Yes, sir.
We'll come back. We're having a podcast about podcasts, right? It's like a double kind of entendre thing. And I want to get into some technical elements. So it might, some few people might zone out and fall asleep or whatever, but some technical aspects, because there are people out there and they've reached out to me, and I'm sure you too. Like,
oh, yeah.
How did you start? And you don't have to be a technical guru. I don't claim to be one. We struggle with all the technical aspects of it almost on a daily basis. So when we come back from a break, we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Yes, sir.
All right, DJ, thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir.
We have diversified our portfolio. We couldn't contain all this content under Chris Sabo's goggled umbrella. Join us from the barn for new content such as Girl Dad, Vulgar Display of Podcasts, Wax World, and coming soon, a brand new podcast from the original three from the Chris Sabo Power Hour. They discuss mass murder, serial killers, assassinations, and our fascination surrounding it. Join Chad, Chuck, and Dwayne and get skinned and get skinned and get skinned and get skinned.
Und lebte ihn nach Aussagen.
DJ Buchanan, Swervinn Podcast. DJ, when do you release your episodes? Is it weekly, every other week?
Weekly, every Sunday. Try to get it before 3 o'clock because, the football varies. I usually drop in Saturday nights. I'm editing and drop Sunday mornings. But yes, you can catch it weekly on Sundays. And I have a movie podcast that's going to be coming out on every Wednesday.
Kind of what I wanted to talk about was like the technical aspect of hosting a podcast, recording a podcast. Did you have a background in audio? Do you know much about mics and headphones and programs and mixers and all that? Or is it something that you just learned by yourself?
No, I think it just took a matter of, like I said, just, back to just going deeper into what you're looking and listening to. And, I was seeing what was on Joe's head and that big old mic, and what it was doing. And then going to Google and just typing, just Googling, podcast, good podcast setup, where to start and stuff. And, I started off with the cheap stuff and the Focusrite 2.0. I think
Scarlett.
Yeah, Scarlett. It was good. Two mics I could put in my backpack, travel, hook it up to the laptop, and that's how I was doing, because it kind of had free form. That's how I was doing it, just running, driving. That's when I had my car before I wrecked and stuff, and I can kind of just go house to house if I wanted. And then I got my own place, and I kind of just wanted to be a home-based podcast, like you come to me and stuff.
So you mentioned the Focusrite, and that's actually a interface that I have used a bunch.
Yes.
And probably would use. We've moved to a mixer, and everything that we talk about technical-wise is going to be linked down below. Mm-hmm. So if you select it down there, that'll link you straight to an Amazon website and give you more information. But so because we wanted to run more than 2 channels, but if I was just doing a 2-channel, I would probably use the Focusrite because it's a great interface.
100%. Yeah, just one-on-one Focusrite all day.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. I don't even think it's that much. So
no, it's like 150 or
good starter kit, and you'll get a mic for like what, $60.
We kind of powered up on these mics that we're using now. We're using the Shure SM7B, and they have a nice little price tag on them. But I think you can get away. Shure puts out such great products that I think you get away with pretty much any Shure mic, and it would be okay.
And when you're testing the quality of a mic, when you buy them lower brand mics and you were editing your podcast and drop them, when you're listening to your podcast and uploading, don't just listen to it off your phone. You have to put headphones in and listen to it. Go in your car and listen to your podcast and stuff. And then you really can upgrade from there. Like, okay, what can I do more? I can turn up the volume and stuff, buy different mics and stuff. And that's where I started more. So, like I said, each podcast gets better as you do it.
So I don't have a huge technical background, but, I had a basic understanding of how to get sound, But more than anything, more than all that technical type stuff is you got to have something to talk about.
Oh, 100%.
And I think a lot of that has to do with having a wide variety of interests, which I feel like you do, because we've even just sit and talk for a little bit. You like sports, you like music, you like movies, you like finance and business, and some of the same stuff that we like too.
100%.
You have to have something to say, right?
Oh, yeah.
So those content areas, do they come naturally? Is it, you mentioned kind of the mental health stuff. Is it something that you want to try to focus on more, or do you just let it happen organically and whatever happens?
Kind of, I'm going to go back to that question you asked me earlier, like when I'm asking guests to come on, you know, you kind of already, when you're asking somebody to come on your background, you kind of got to know something about them, you know? So I kind of try to match questions up from them and in a question way, let them know about me and kind of ask that question in a way they might answer different from me, so where they can get to know me and stuff, and I can elaborate on that and stuff. Yeah. Just kind of go from there. So that's how that fills the areas, and it is kind of just natural free form, you know. Sometimes I might send that script to the person and you might read, but sometimes we might go off script because it's a natural conversation once you get warmed up. So I feel like that just naturally comes from the heart and free forms. Most of the time I am, you know, writing it down and going script to script. And that's where, if you're starting to do that, you know, because it's hard to fill them areas sometimes when you're like, okay, and you just go to the, you know, you just go to the next topic. You can just keep it going. So, and no one wants to hear it. When you start, you're going to do that a bunch of times, you know, because you're scared of yourself in the mic. And, but like I said, as you keep doing them, you get better at the podcast. And that's why I kept going. And always watch your podcast. Don't be scared of your voice and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Do that. You know, upload it. And
when you have a voice like that, you're not scared of it.
Yeah.
Come on now. No, but you know.
You got that sexy voice going on.
No, but I'll upload it and I'll kick back on YouTube and I'll watch it, like the whole thing. And I won't delete it if it's bad. I'm like, I can just do that better. You know, because I know people are watching it with that eye too. And if you're a true creator, all you can do is do better. And that's what creators are for. So that's where I'm at, man.
I think that's a good point. And that's something I definitely struggle with because it you know, when you listen back, you can sometimes have that cringy where you're like, man, is that what I really sound like? But, you know, we edit ours, so I have to listen to it. And, you know,
for sure.
And I try to cut out some of the uhs and the ands and all that.
But it's hard.
It is hard.
Yes.
It is hard because, you know, some of those like connecting type sounds and words, the uhs and the ands, you're just trying to piece together a natural talk. When you're just naturally talking, it's a lot different than when you're talking on mic.
Exactly.
But when I have people on, I try to tell them that. I said, it's just a hang, bro. Like we're just sitting here talking like we would normally talk. We just have mics in front of our faces.
Yeah, it's not like we got a screen and reading from a computer and all that. That'd be so hard. I couldn't do that. And I tried that at one point, you know, like reading questions as I'm on the laptop, and like I had to be holding the conversation, ask them a question, read it, and then remember that in my mind, and then come back to it. So yeah, it's just a learning point within yourself on podcasts if you're doing it.
And it kind of goes back to that public speaking thing that you learned in school.
Oh, right? Dude,
you can't just sit there and read off something.
Did you hate public speaking?
Hate it.
Loved it. Yeah. I loved it.
Really?
I did it in Minnesota too, so I didn't know anybody. So, you know, I was just going in there free form, and I had great stories, man, great topics and stuff, and we got to go in there, and it was right before COVID, so it was like the last class I had in person, and I think getting good grades in there is what made me like believe in myself to do the podcast too.
Because you saw all these other people that were not.
Yeah, and then when I got done talking, like, you know, I was learning good points, like if you can't make eye contact, look at the top of the head and stuff, and you know, like I was telling you earlier, I don't look at the camera much, so like good points like that, I take them to the podcast and stuff, and it was just a good learning point in my life. Take on them talking classes and just trusting yourself, man. Trusting yourself.
And I think a lot of it does have to do with confidence.
Oh, for sure. That's where it starts.
Especially the host. To be a guest, you just come on and tell your story, right? Yeah. Everybody has a different perspective, and it's all unique, and people are interesting. So,
but you can't say that, though, because like you said, guests can be flaky sometimes because they're scared.
Sure. And I've had that. You know, I've had guys that I wanted to have on. I'm like, man, come on, your story is incredible. And you could really maybe inspire change some lives and whatever. And they're like, oh, I don't know. It's like, you don't have to, I don't have any kind of radio background. I don't have any kind of technical background. We're just bullshitting in the garage.
Exactly,
We're
man.
bullshitting in the barn.
And just from the heart, man. Don't just be yourself. I feel like a lot of people have a hard time doing that nowadays. They're trying to be something else. You know, I talk on to Joe Rogan and stuff, but take them inspirations to do something with it. You know, you're not a copycat. You're just being yourself. That's why I have the pictures hanging up in my background in my podcast and stuff, because you can buy into the things that I like more. People are messaging me on Instagram and stuff, man, love the Midnight Gospel. Then they're going to watch it on Netflix and they know more about me, you know, coming to my podcast and stuff. So it's just a deeper meaning. Be yourself and just, like I said, have that confidence.
And there is some vulnerability to that, putting yourself out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure, because people have stakes and stuff.
You know, a lot of people, they have a huge fear of like talking in public, you know, but this isn't that. There's not a live audience here, you know. So, you know, Chad's going to cut out a lot of the dumb stuff I say, so I feel better about it.
But it's so crazy you say like people have that fear of talking in public, but 100% of the time, say if you're in Walmart, and like I was in Walmart in 5 this morning, and there was one guy behind me, and you know, I was kind of being an antsy asshole. Like I was just being needy within the clerk. And I just felt like I needed to make conversation with that guy, and I really didn't want to. And I did, you know, I was just like, man, sorry, man. Like, sorry, I'm just like, you know, to take my time and stuff. And he was like, oh, you're all good. And then it led to deeper convo. He was like, man, you know what? He's like, people have a hard time doing that nowadays, just taking their time. And just, I feel like people really don't do that. Because think about yourself, like in Walmart. How many times do you say hello or have that conversation one-on-one with the person? Most of the time.
I will avoid them. So
You
I don't
avoid
have to
that?
talk
You're not
to
that
them.
guy? I'm that guy, man. I'll say hello to anybody.
So I don't like public speaking, but if I'm ever in an elevator with somebody, it's just me and that person.
Oh, you got it.
The silence is like, it kills my ears. So I will be like, oh, you know, I'll just start on this. You know, it's kind of the Chad show at that point, right? Where we're trying to get them. I'm trying to get them talking and fill that silence.
Chad's infamous for saying things that probably shouldn't be said, like, you know, some crazy shit that somebody's gonna look at him like real weird, like, you know. So that he says inappropriate things.
That's so funny. I just brought my, like, when you said that, I had to take myself to an elevator with like a random person, and it's like if you don't make convo in that elevator, then you get the weird eye contact like all the way till you're out the elevator until the door closes. You're like, all right, I'm safe.
I'd rather talk to you and get to know you for 45 seconds than us just sit there with our heads down. And I would, you know, I might say something crazy to break the silence.
And that's a big thing too. Like with podcasts, you know, knowing audience and knowing the right things to say sometimes, and you know what can go and what can't.
You know, that's a dance you don't always know how to dance, right?
Oh, 100%.
What people want, what they want to hear, and that's sort of a learning tool and process. It seems like. Do you use your analytics? Do you look at your kind of data and see when people tune in and tune out, and what focuses? Do you do any of that type of stuff? Kind of like a deeper dive into what you're putting out?
You're talking about from a podcast number standpoint,
right?
Yeah, I do. But dude, it's all about the social media. I do numbers on Instagram. When I said I had that mental health stage where we took the commercial break and we were talking, I said I was kind of going through a mental health funk. I wasn't recording things. My story views were going down. I was having like 60 views and stuff, and I kind of was coming to myself like, damn, I wasn't being myself. You know, I wasn't being myself, and you know, people want to see what's going on with Swerve. You know, what I'm doing daily, what guests are coming on the pod. You know, I'm going to the casino, placing a bet, watching football, getting mad, playing Madden and stuff. I just got to stay with that and stuff, and when I wasn't doing that, the numbers were going down, and I kind of just picked it back up and doing the pod, you know, putting promotions out there, what movies I'm watching and stuff, what food I'm eating and stuff, and I'm back to like 300 views on like and it's just crazy like how much consistency like buys into that. And when I'm consistent, I don't have to buy it. I don't have to really look at my analytics because I know it's there. You know what I'm saying?
So that's kind of not the word. You know, we've only been doing this a short time, but I'm not super obsessed with the analytics yet. We're trying to build something,
right?
You know, we're trying to build, you know, build some lists.
Everything comes in timing, man. Nothing great is rush, you know.
You know, I've had people reach out to me and be like, "What can I do to help you?" I said, more than anything, share it.
Share it. That's all you can do, man.
Share it.
Like
get more people, get more eyes on it, you know. And again, if you believe in yourself and the content that you're putting out and you feel like you're putting out quality content, those shares and those likes and all that stuff, the algorithm that they talk about, super important. So we're going to go to another break right now. We're going to hear from Wax World. Hey, Wack.
Whack.
Where we talk, and I think when we come back in this last segment, we got to talk some sports. Right?
Oh, 100%.
Sports guy, golf guy, we got to talk that.
100%, maybe a little more, man. I ain't out of nothing.
So we're going to hear from Wax World, and when you can hear that podcast, tune into that, and we're going to link them all together. So we'll be back right after this.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Wack from Wax World. Tune in next week for our fantasy football analysis and picks, and to hear why Chuck's life sucks again.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Daryl Buchanan. Most know me as DJ. Swervinn Podcast on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Check in every Sunday for the episodes. We got a new podcast called The Big Hungry and Swerve Movie Podcast. I'll be every Wednesday on the same platform. Be sure to check that out. Also got a detailing business. Be sure to check that out. Swerve Auto Detail on Facebook, Instagram. My phone number is 573-327-1473. I run rates at $125 for a full inside and out detail. Have a summer package. You can get you 5 cleans for $225. Like I said, that's Swerve Auto Details on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm your boy, Swervinn Podcast, baby.
Welcome back to the barn, joined by Wack and DJ
Yes,
from
sir.
Swervinn Podcast. Check that out. We cannot get out of here, brother, without talking sports.
Dude, let's run it.
So
Football was crazy yesterday.
It's been crazy the whole playoff.
The whole season.
We're recording on Monday the 31st. So the championship games were yesterday, and man, they were pretty damn good. I'll tell you what.
They were great.
I went 1-1, so I had Chiefs and Rams.
I was the opposite.
I went 0-2. 0-4, actually. I betted all the Chiefs and 49ers, straight money line, and I betted I think the overs on both games. Didn't get it.
So mostly I had to go to Casino Queen,
Where's that?
Illinois, and straight across the bridge.
Okay.
Where do you go? Hold on now.
I drive to the FanDuel,
Where's that at?
the horse racing
Oh,
place.
yeah.
Is that the same place?
No.
Dude, FanDuel has a literal place in Illinois. Like, pull up and it's FanDuel and all that. You go in there, sit down, and
It's at the horse track?
yeah, and they got like 60 TVs. It's awesome.
So I need to check that one out because the one I go to is just like a ticket booth, and there's a few TVs up or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's more like a transaction.
Yeah, I'm gonna refer you to. I'll put the link to FanDuel below too, but I'm gonna refer you to because
Nice.
if you refer a friend and then you go you gotta go verify your stuff. When you go verify FanDuel, they give you a free $100 credit to play with, and then my referral is gonna give you $50. So you're gonna have $150 to gamble before you even.
So here's what we're going to do then. We'll do that. We'll hook you up. You hook us up. You're going to sign up on our Robinhood for some financial advice from my guys over here.
Cool.
And we're going to get you hooked up with some free stocks because the same thing applies with that too. If you sign up, I get a free stock and you get a free stock too.
Bump.
So we're going to put that link down at the bottom. And we actually had a friend that ended up with $250 free stock or something.
They give me the
Damn.
$3 one, and this guy gets the $250.
Yeah, I got the $4 one, and my buddy who I referred got the $250
And free stocks?
Yeah,
Jeez, that's awesome.
straight out the bottom. And then you could
We all eat though. You know what I mean?
and that's the idea, right?
You know what I mean?
I'm glad you bring that up because I want to start a podcast, and we are going to eventually called Rising Tides because the rising tide raises all ships. And I've always considered myself a team player. If I'm having some success or whatever, or my life's good, I want all the people around me to have that as well.
Exactly.
And that's why I want to,
Did you guys listen to the Antonio Brown podcast with Full Send?
No.
Full Send podcast is one of the podcasts I listen to. The Nelk Boys is kind of like more what's going on in the people of my age and stuff. They're big on YouTube, do crazy stuff. Like they got kicked off of.
The Shoe Drinkers.
Yes, that's them.
Yeah.
Steve will do it. All that. They Antonio Brown was the first podcast they went on, but Antonio Brown had a good point he had on there. He's starting to rap and things like that, and one of the hosts on there, he like really likes his rap, and he might have just been saying that because AB was there and stuff, but AB said something great. Like, it's okay to give credit without like saying sorry before. Like, you can't give credit to something or support it. If you like that, support it, and just buy into things you like, and it's okay to share it, It don't hurt to share nothing. So that's why I'm all about that. Like, if I like it, that's why I got 20,000 Instagram story posts and all that, because that's stuff I'm into. Sometimes it's gonna, good karma comes back.
I talk about this a lot, but anything that's ever attached to my name, it's not a fake. It's not a fugazi. It's something that I really believe in. Like, we're talking mics and we're talking equipment. That's stuff that I've used and you've used and we believe in it.
100%.
All right, we got to get back on sports though.
Yeah, let's run it. How was your guys' fantasy year? Do you guys play in the same league?
We have one league together, just a Yahoo league, but I have several other ones.
Oh my God! So what's several? What's your cutoff? Like, when are you? What's too many leagues for you?
His numbers. He's on a different level here, so his numbers might surprise you a little bit.
I don't think it's crazy. So this year I had 3 Yahoo leagues, and then I have 5 Dynasty leagues.
Whack!
I know.
You gotta wake up at like 7 a.m. to put everything in.
Well, I'm in the numbers already, right? So I already got this shit in my head, so I don't really have to spend any extra time on it because I'm already doing it.
What about you, Lynch?
So I'm more of a money line, just straight up. I like betting games. I don't like players as much. I do a little bit of fantasy. I do a little daily fantasy, but not enough to impress you or anything. I like games. I like to sit back and watch a game and have a team I'm rooting for. And I have some money on. It makes the game a little bit better and more enjoyable to watch.
So you're just getting into like one fantasy league and might just buy into that.
Just for fun.
And buy into the money line more. I respect that.
I'll put a little money on daily fantasy type stuff, the DraftKings and everything. But if I had, like a FanDuel or a DraftKings outside of my 5 miles away or 2 miles away, that would be more my thing. I would do it on a regular.
And like I kind of do that more. I got a fantasy league I own. Like this year was at $60 buy-in. Got 10 guys, and the same 10 guys will probably buy in for life. You know, so I just raise it. I raise it every 10 years, $10, and when we get $100, probably cut it off. $1,000 pot every year. That's pretty nice for football season. And then I do half the price each year for my other league for the people that can't get in. So I just kind of stay in them 2 leagues, try to win, and it just gives my. You know, I just give the people competition more because it's my league, and I think they think I might take it easy, but no, I'm a competitor. You know what I mean?
So last year we got into this new thing. I was listening to some fantasy podcasts, and they were talking about this new app, this new league called Dynasty Owner. And so we started got a group of friends and started a league there. And it became addicting. Like then, I just wanted to have more teams, and that's how I got to
Is it
five.
paying like weekly wagers or something?
No, I mean there's different levels. You can play for free, or you can play for $50, or you can play for $100. And I got all 3 of those. But yeah, so 12 team leagues, $100. But in this league, whoever wins the whole thing, meaning they have all these separate 12-team leagues, but whoever wins their league and has the highest overall points gets a ring, almost a $10,000 like Super Bowl ring. They bring him to Cleveland. They take him to the Hall of Fame, and I mean it's a big
That's
deal.
dope.
And the other thing is we started our league and we had 10 guys. No, we had 9 guys. So 3, strangers from out there is in our league. One of them happened to be a kind of a celebrity.
Really?
So, yeah.
It's Tom Brady.
It's Tom Brady. No. But it was kind of completely random, and it was kind of cool.
And
so,
you're going to leave us hanging on the celebrity.
well, I want to bring him in for something sometime.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That leaves that hanging edge like a show. So come back for more.
You got to find out later.
We're going to bring him in sometime, but his name rhymes with Shram Brady. Tune in next week.
Once I found out what sports betting was, like I went up one weekend with my guys in Soulard, and my buddy, he just woke up. He's like, "Hey, you want to go with me? Just drive across." I was like, "Drive across where?" He's like, "I'm going across the ridge real quick to put this bet in." And I was just kind of watching over his shoulder. When he put that bet in, the way he was watching that Michigan game when when they beat Ohio State, man, like I was like, okay, I was like, I'm in. And then he was just showing me the odds and stuff, and I had a pod with him too. It's the Trenton Jacob pod, and we talk about sports betting and all that. And he just got me in college basketball and stuff. And when you hit that first parlay, you think you know everything, but if you really watch sports, like it could happen, and the parlays I put in like are really like manageable, and I'm always close. So, but man, sports betting is my shit.
So if you're listening to this, we're in Southeast Missouri. Sports betting and gambling is not legal yet. I actually heard on the news today where we're
No,
closer.
you didn't.
Yeah.
This morning.
Yeah, this morning. Where we're getting close. Not that we're
How
there
close?
yet.
Are we closer?
I don't know. I didn't watch the
We're closer though.
I think there are like bills in
Yes.
Congress that are either drafted or something.
It needs to happen, man. Just think about what all that tax money could do. Like the lose outs, not that we hope to lose, but yeah, I mean, hell, I drive to Illinois to place a bet, and I probably blow a tire because the roads are so bad. Where's all that money going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, also, in Missouri, the gambling money goes to the schools. So now, if Illinois is doing that, you're invested in the Illinois schools, not the Missouri ones.
Exactly.
I have always had a tough time that we're talking about literally going across a river. On one side of the river, it's illegal. On this side, it's legal. I have a tough time with that.
It's not like there's a wall there or anything.
Like I can look over there and be like, yo, it's legal over here, but not over there. Like that's ridiculous. Like we have to get away from that archaic type process of laws, and we got to find, if we're going to decriminalize things, it's got to be one way or the other.
Oh,
it's like the DH and MLB, like it's got to be one way or the other.
100%. And what do you guys think the percentage? Okay, in Illinois betting right now, what do you think that percentage is? And like the bets putting in is Missouri.
In the East St. Louis side, over half for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. I guarantee you over 50% is coming from Missouri.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even
definitely.
more south of St. Louis. Or they got to get a bookie, because some don't want to make the drive. But I guarantee you, like, more than bets are coming from Missouri, and most of the legal ones. Most of the legal ones are illegal, and they're from Missouri.
And it's going to happen. It's just, a matter of time. But it is frustrating. So for us to place a bet, we got to drive,
Yes, because it is not legal. So do not try to bet unless you
We're
have a
not
bookie.
talking about anything illegal. Okay, Super Bowl. We got
Yes.
Bengals, and it's literally at Rams, right? So they're at home. It's a home game for them, although I'm not sure how much.
Are you guys like yay? Are you guys like yay Rams or like screw Kroenke?
Screw Kroenke, definitely. I remember, I think I have some Rams memorabilia up here somewhere. I remember when Rams were in St. Louis, and we're in the St. Louis area. So You know, those teams mean a lot to me.
Oh, 100%. Corey Holt, Bruce,
Yes.
Ball, yes.
Yeah, so I don't root for the Rams now, but if you're talking about the old, you know, that team that was in St. Louis, I have a special place in my heart for them. Now, I do like Aaron Donald.
Yes.
I love to watch that dude play.
I love Ramsey, too, before he was on the Rams.
And Ramsey,
Yes.
yeah. I like their defense.
Man, it just sucks, man. We had to go through the Mark Bolger years. And, man, I know. And then they brought Sam Bradford. That's what we get. And then you leave. And then you go to Super Bowl twice? I just think it's bullshit.
Sam Bradford actually changed the rules. He was that last rookie that came in with a $50 million contract, making more than Brady and never played a game.
Yeah, not a quarter as good.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I just hate it. I just hate we went through that, man, because I was going to 6 games and, man, like, yeah, screw Kroenke.
And I think that's why I have a soft place in my heart because, you know, I remember the Rams before when it was Tony Banks and they were terrible. And we
I probably wasn't even alive.
You probably weren't. But, you know, we kind of lived through that, and we lived through, like, the bad Steven Jackson years. You know, Steven Jackson was a baller at one point, but he really declined.
Yeah,
and, you know, kind of went through some bad years with him, too.
Leonard Leno, I love them days, man.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Yep. London Fletcher.
Yeah.
Badass.
Yeah, hard not to root for that guy.
Yep. Well, I'm a little older than you guys, but I remember the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, yeah.
And they were bad. Talk about bad. That was bad.
Yeah.
It just sucks, man. Just coming from St. Louis and, you know, we buy into the Blues hard and we were really, if you're from Missouri, man, you just had to love the Rams and it just hurts. It just hurts. But yeah, man, I think it's going to be a great Super Bowl. Burrow's impressed me. I was at a point in my life to where, man, I was like, I really did not like Joe Burrow's attitude at all. Just in college, he was kind of cocky. I love that play when he got blew up. He threw that pick and that UCF guy just killed him.
Yeah.
Just walked over him. And I was just like, man, I don't like Joe Burrow. But when he got in the league and the consistency, like performing and stuff, and
if you can back it up, it's okay to be cocky.
man, what made when I was like, okay, if Joe Burrow, this is gonna gain his respect. When they got rid of AJ Green, I was like, okay, they're trying to do something, and they brought in Chase with that draft pick. I was like, okay, now this has to talk to where they're gonna. If Burrow's real in this league, he's gonna make it happen, and to be in the Super Bowl second year, that's congrats, especially after the injury.
That combo's deadly.
Oh, 100%.
Both those guys, you know, that sort of feels like the new wave. That feels like the future, you know.
Respect to the coach, too. Respect to him, man. Young coach. NFL is just a hard league. It's just hard, especially the AFC. Chiefs played bad yesterday. The coaching was terrible.
That was the worst I've seen Mahomes control a game.
Do you kick the field goal as a coach with that offense, or are you trying to score to get up at halftime?
I kicked field goal.
Exactly. I don't care who you are. It's the playoffs.
I kicked the field goal there because, man, and they're coming back out with the ball, and they go up that many, and I forget what the numbers were, where they were at that time. But I kicked that.
They would have been up. They would have been up 18 going into half. Well, 14 going into half, but 18 with the score.
It looked like if he would have handed that ball off, he would have walked in the end zone, straight up the middle.
Oh, to Tyreek Hill?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, not to Tyreek Hill. He faked to the running back up the middle, and he just walks in the end zone.
Oh, yeah.
And then he tries to throw it over to Hill. Yep.
It was just a terrible play call. They had a couple situations in the second half, too. You know, they could have scored. And why not throw the ball away, Mahomes? You had like 5 opportunities.
And that's what I'm talking about with the game management. He took way too many sacks and put him out of positions a few times. It's just, you know, and I know he's been down this year, but he's had some flashes of brilliance, I thought, as well. Just, I don't know. It seemed like, and I had money on the Chiefs, so that was my one that I lost.
Man, and respect to Burrow, too, because the O-line he had, and to get to the Super Bowl with that, he has been hit hard. I had him at a point in fantasy, like, week 6, I dropped them, and then I ended up getting them back before the playoffs, and I'm just thankful for that. And to make it happen with that terrible of a line is kudos. Burrow's got my respect, but I said last night on my podcast, I dropped this morning, 30-20 Rams. A lot of field goals.
There's some red zone issues.
With who?
With Bengals.
100%, yes.
Yeah. So I could see a lot of field goals. You know, the
Joe Mixon touchdown, maybe one passing touchdown, but a lot of field goals other than that. I think it's like 10-17 going into halftime.
I think the Rams are going to take it because you're just talking about the line, and now they're going to try to block Darnold.
Oh, that is not happening.
Nope.
They're going to have a whole project for that. They can have Von Miller coming off the edge. Give me your score with that.
I'm going to say 28-17.
Okay. I like that.
Rams.
What about you?
So I think Bengals. I do worry about the line. They're going to at least have to double team Aaron Donald. If not, figure out something else. I definitely think that's a huge part of their game plan. And I do worry about the Rams defense. I just like the way the confidence that the Bengals are playing with right now, especially after beating the Chiefs, where I think you picked the Bengals to win.
Yep.
But a lot of people didn't. I like the Bengals. If I had to put a number on it, I do think there's going to be a lot of field goals. Let's go 21-17.
I like that. The over was set at 48.5 today. Probably move. I think last night before I went to bed, it was at 50. And I said,
who was the favorite and by how many?
The favorite is Rams right now, -4.
Is it really?
Yeah. I'll take that all day.
I would too for sure.
I'll take that all day. The only thing that scares me about the Rams is I really don't think the Rams beat themselves. I think it comes to a Sean McVay point. You kind of see them cuts of Sean McVay doing the beard scratching and stuff. I kind of just think he's trying to do the extra sometimes, especially in that 49ers game. Him and Kyle Shanahan's a great coach, plays great football. Who's your Super Bowl MVP? Cup's been playing great.
Cup, he got the triple crown this year, right? I mean, if you would think any wide receiver that you've known for the last 10 years could get it, I would not think it would be Cup. So yeah, he's great. He's definitely top candidate for if it's not a quarterback. I mean, most time it's a quarterback.
Is Matt Stafford in the Hall of Fame if he wins?
No.
If he wins?
No. He wins the Super Bowl.
His numbers are crazy.
His numbers are good. He played for a bad team he
only had Megatron, so you don't give it to him?
Would you give it to
don't even say Aaron Rodgers. Don't say Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is going to get it.
Okay, stop right there. So why should Aaron Rodgers get it? He has one Super Bowl, and Matt Stafford he's right under him probably.
So
Drew Brees is, and probably Matt Stafford's probably a couple under.
Rodgers won one.
So if Stafford wins one, you don't put Stafford there too? That's bullshit to me.
You think?
I think so. I think he gets it. His numbers are insane. Dude, for 50,000 in a career?
So those are yards, right?
Yes.
But what's his touchdown interception ratio?
It can't be that high. I wish I had Wi-Fi.
Not even close to
career? I mean, Brady's a GOAT. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is very efficient.
Aaron Rodgers is going to throw 36 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
If Matthew Stafford plays on the Rams his whole career, he's killing Aaron Rodgers.
Right, but he didn't. So I can't give him the Hall of Fame because of what he could have done.
But he played on Detroit.
I know.
And put up 50,000.
That's why he has 50,000 yards, because they're losing all the time. He's got to throw it all the time, every game.
I don't agree with that, Whack. I don't agree with that.
You don't? Mm-mm. Well, so you believe he's a Hall of Famer?
He is. I think he's a Hall of Famer if Aaron Rodgers is in. I think if he wins, if Matthew Stafford wins, he's a Hall of Famer along with Aaron Rodgers. I think he's just as good.
So what if any quarterback wins the Super Bowl?
So Drew Brees in? He's won one?
Drew Brees, yeah, absolutely. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the history of ever. He's probably got the highest completion percentage ever. So yeah, he's in there, and he's got records. Or at least top 3. Him and Brady go back and forth on it a little bit.
It's hard, man. It's hard. I think Matt Stafford has the numbers, and then you go back to Super Bowl wins, 1. Right? Rodgers has 1. Brees has 1. I don't think.
Well, Stafford don't have one yet.
Yeah, but I think if he gets one, that solidifies it.
Okay. So
and then he's gonna play 3 more years. So I mean.
Right. So do you have like a qualification? Or are we checking off boxes to say they have to have this many yards? And
I'm just statting them up with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. We got to compare those. We'll have to do that after this.
We will.
All right.
We will. They got to be close.
Yeah. Well, they probably played around.
Aaron Rodgers Aaron Rodgers probably about 8,000 yards ahead. He had Cobb. He had who else did he have? The white guy, Jordy Nelson.
Yeah. He had
Jennings. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the year he won, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great crew.
Mm-hmm.
He has people to throw to. Matt Stafford had Megatron. That's it.
There's sometimes they had a lot of they're throwing the ball around a lot in Detroit, and they had some good guys out there.
Man, I don't care. If Matt Stafford wins, he's in. He's solidified. He's respected.
Chad, where are you at on that? Stafford, if he wins,
if Matt Stafford wins Super Bowls, he's a Hall of Famer. What? Yeah. That is nuts. He just said if Aaron Rodgers, is in though, and Brees, and they both have 1 Super Bowl, and Stafford is just as good. If you put Stafford in Aaron Rodgers' spot at Green Bay, he does everything.
Well, he might, but
he might win too.
So, Eli Manning, didn't he win 2? Right?
Yeah, he beat Tom.
And Peyton only won 1. Does that mean Eli's better than Peyton? No.
Oh, 100% not. Eli's not a bad player though.
Yeah, he had a lot of good He got a lot of good seasons with lots of touchdowns and lots of yards too. But I wouldn't say he's. I don't know if I could back that up, but I wouldn't say he's a Hall of Famer with even 2 Super Bowls.
All right, DJ, we got our picks in.
Yes, sir.
I enjoyed it.
What the golf soon?
we're gonna golf for sure.
Oh, for sure. You gotta probably catch me around here in the summer. I like the plan. I'm not gonna put much on the table right now, but just know some stuff's in the works, man.
Cool, man. You want to give your podcast out again and your information?
Yeah, like I said, it's Swervinn Podcast every Sunday. Make sure you put an apostrophe after the 2 N's on Swervinn. Swervinn Podcast, like I said, catch me every Sunday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure you put an apostrophe after the 2 N's on Swervinn. Movie podcast will be Wednesday, and just make sure you catch me on Instagram at Swervo to stay tuned with the upcoming guests and everything. And I appreciate you, Winch.
All right, man.
And Whack, it was good sports talk. And Matt Stafford's Hall of Fame if you want.
All right, man. We'll catch you next time. This has been The Barn. And now listen to our sponsors. Thanks.
This video is brought to you by The Wellness Investors. Visit thewellnessinvestors.com and start enhancing your life one sector at a time.